It's said everyone has got a story to tell, but have we all got a story to sell?
Natasha Courtenay-Smith thinks so. She's set up a website to guide us through selling our stories to the newspapers. It's not just kiss and tell. Natasha thinks everyday, ordinary stories could have a happy financial ending.
Yes, and she's here to explain, along with Alison Baverstock, the author of Is There a Book in You? So welcome to you both. Natasha, has everybody got a story to sell to the papers?
I think a lot of the papers and magazines are looking for sort of stories that illustrate people's day-to-day life, the trials and tribulations they go through, from things like their relationship, their health stories, medical stories, parenting, children, family stuff. So in that sense, yes, what people might not think is of interesting, it is of interest, as in it doesn't necessarily involve someone famous, it's not particularly scandalous, can be of interest.
And your website is set up so people come to you with a tale, something that's happened to them.
Yeah.
And you will tell them if it's interesting, and then if it is, you work on it for them, you write it.
Yeah, I talk them through. I sort of say, what's your aim in this? What would you like to do? Which sort of publication would you like to see it in? I mean, some people come through and, the story might not be completely there, and you have to say, no, I don't think you can have. But a lot of people just have nice and, happy stories, things that have happened to them. And so I talk them through and say, yes, let's approach this magazine. What about this paper? And then me and my writer, we interview them and write the stories and sort of hold their hand throughout the whole process.
Alison, everybody, or many people, think they've got a book in them. Yeah. But do you think that genuinely people have interesting stories which are worth telling to the newspapers and earning some money from that they might not realise?
I think people have got stories within them, but I think you need to think about the long-term consequences. I mean, I think this could have quite a destabilising effect on lots of relationships. That Princess Diana famously said that there were 3 people in her marriage and it was a bit crowded. And if any relationship has the prospect of the 2 people involved and then somebody with a checkbook, that's difficult. I think the other thing that does concern me a bit, and Natasha says she's going to hold people's hand, which is great, but the long-term consequences. Once you've let things out of the bottle, you may decide to move on with your life. Something unfortunate may happen to you in your 20s, but it'll still be in the cuttings, 10 years later when you may be in a different relationship. It's a bit like, deciding at 18 you're going to have a tattoo. 10 years on, does it still appeal to you? But you can't get rid of it once it's been let out.
Natasha, you've got almost like an agent role in a way, and also you're planning on writing these stories. Do you caution people that, hold on a minute, there are a lot of people involved in the story, it could cause problems? How do you work that through?
Yeah, we do. I mean, we say to them, and one thing I have realised is that lots of people, when they see their story in print, they really want to do it, and the moment they see it in print, they're quite shocked, and they're like, oh my goodness, it's a double page, and you sort of say, well, yes, so I always say to them beforehand that you may have this reaction when you see it in print, and be prepared that seeing your face in the paper might come as a shock to you. And a lot of people don't have the sort of stories. For a lot of people, their stories are, I've been through this event, and they want to do it to tell people about their happy ending or the inspiring bit in it, or to bring closure. So a lot of people don't necessarily have that fallout.
They don't necessarily understand that the press feeds off itself, so that you may decide to tell your story, but the same newspaper or a different newspapers all read each other, so they may decide, if you tell a story about your awful next-door neighbour, another newspaper may decide to interview the next-door neighbour, and then you get a different story appearing. The person over the road may then decide to tell a story of, actually, they're both pretty awful to live with. And you've created this maelstrom of interest with you at the centre, and then when the journalists have gone away, you've still got to live with it, and so have your family, and so have your children.
There's a cautionary note.
You need to be careful.
Thank you both very much for coming today.
Yeah, really interesting. Natasha and Alison, thanks very much indeed. 4 minutes past 9. Stay with us because the Hollywood actor Danny Glover will be here on the sofa very shortly.